Those of you that are parents certainly have heard this, and the students are awash in the number of times we talk about world changers being shaped here. But if we want to really have a speaker that provides an example of that, our speaker today certainly does. One of the things that I think is acknowledged throughout the country is simply the fact that the smartphone has been brought about a tremendous change in our world. Randall Stephenson has served as Chief Executive Officer of AT&T since 2007. Most of our graduating senior undergraduates today were 11 or 12 at that time of 2007, the year that the first iPhone was launched. And back then, AT&T was the only company that could provide service for that iPhone, the only place that you could get it, 2007. So yes, undergraduates, in many ways, as you always thought, you ushered in the modern era of civilization with the iPhone when you were 11 or 12. Most of you now probably have yours very much on, and I'm assuming sending messages, Snapchat or whatever of this ceremony to your friends back in high school or around the world or wherever. But AT&T has led the shift to the wireless world that we know today. And that leadership has been provided by Randall Stephenson. It's been transformational to the company, and he's been transformational really to all of us, he and his colleagues at AT&T. But that's not the only great change AT&T has pursued under Randall Stephenson's leadership. It's also entered the world of media creation and distribution with the 2017 acquisition of DirecTV and its current pursuit of Time Warner, as is well documented in the press. We're fortunate that AT&T is headquartered here in Dallas for many reasons, not the least of which is the great partnership that we enjoy with AT&T. Many jobs to our graduates occur because of AT&T's being here in our city. In 2016, the company endowed the AT&T Center for Virtualization at SMU to research the fast and reliable cloud-based telecommunication technologies of the future. And in addition to leading AT&T, Randall is a member of the PGA Tour Policy Board. And as I think most of you know, if you read the papers this week, we are a partner with AT&T in the Salesmanship Club in the opening of Trinity Forest Golf Club. It's home of the SMU golf teams, as well as home of the Byron Nelson. For the past 2 years, he served as national chairman of the Boy Scouts of America. So he has much to teach us about sharing your talents and passion beyond the workplace. He's a graduate of the University of Central Oklahoma, got his MBA at OU, and from all indications knows how to sing Boomer Sooner. So please join me in welcoming world changer Randall Stephenson as our commencement speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Turner. Good morning to everybody. It's an honor to be here. As you just heard, I may be the only speaker you've had in the last 4 years who will not take offense if you leave your smartphone off. I don't expect you to turn it off, so please just go at it. I do want to also congratulate all of you graduates and also the families particularly. You just got a raise today, so congratulations to you. And Dr. Turner, Board of Trustees, staff, professors, you guys have built something special here. You just watched this place, and over the last 20 years, SMU has just quietly and steadily become one of America's elite universities. And the U.S. education system, it gets criticized a lot, but when it comes to higher education, our universities remain the gold standard around the world, hands down. People from all over the world aspire to be educated in America. And you're now among the select few to graduate from an elite U.S. school. So I just urge you, do not take that for granted. I was the first person in my family to earn a college degree. I grew up, as you heard, in Oklahoma. My family didn't have a lot of money, so I went to state-supported schools and I received a world-class education at a very reasonable cost, so I was blessed. I was blessed to live in a society that values education as the principal means for upward mobility. I was also blessed to step out of school and into a society that values freedom above all things. Freedom of speech, freedom of worship, the freedom to choose my own vocation. And that freedom extends to the world into which most of you are now transitioning, the hyper-competitive world of commerce and trade. For my entire adult life, I have watched the power of our free markets governed by the rule of law, and I am aware of no system that better rewards creativity, hard work, and risk-taking than ours. I would say it is the American recipe that enables a kid from Moore, Oklahoma, with no pedigree, to one day run a company like AT&T. And I believe that is a really far-fetched story, but it is a story that is repeated over and over again, and it's a story that's going to be repeated by many of you that are here in this room this morning. Unfortunately, we had the financial crisis of the last decade, and there are a lot of concerns about income inequality that have given many critics reason to question our system of free enterprise. And the question is, can we produce a fairer outcome? And perhaps. But I'm constantly amazed at the breadth and the depth of prosperity in this country. Is our system perfect? Of course it's not. Can it be improved? Yeah, I think it can, and I think we must tirelessly work to afford upward mobility to everybody, especially through access to education. But changes to a free enterprise system that has allowed so many to move from poverty to prosperity should be addressed with extreme humility. As I was preparing this talk for today, I listened to a number of commencement speeches, and what I was curious to hear is what's being communicated and delivered to our graduates. And I discovered a number of consistent themes as I was doing this. Probably the most prominent was follow your heart, and also stay true to yourself. And I must confess, as I was listening to these speeches, I panicked a little bit because I am the most unqualified person in this room to offer that advice. You see, when I sat where you are, and I was graduating college, I was already married to my childhood sweetheart, Lanice. And she's seated right up here. She's with us this morning. And Lanice and I, we already had an infant daughter, and we were dead broke in a true definition of the term. I didn't have time to follow my heart. I had bills to pay. I had diapers, baby formula, rent. Now, some of you here already know your heart's desire, and there are a number of you who are going to pick up your diploma and you're going to head straight to your next scheduled career stop. And I think that's terrific, and I congratulate you, but I will tell you this speech is not directed to you. What I'm going to do is use the next few minutes to speak to the rest of you, those who, like me, at age 22, you don't yet have it all figured out. And I want to give you my credentials to speak on this subject, so bear with me one second. My dad was in the cattle feed business, so I enrolled in college to study animal husbandry. That always gets a little laugh. I bet you don't have that program here, do you? No. 2 years into that, I changed paths and I ended up with a master's in accounting. And from there, my plan was to join a big accounting firm, work my way up to a senior position, and then hopefully one day start a business of my own. That plan didn't happen either. Instead, I took a different route, and today I run a little telecom company just down the street from where you are right here. And my path, it has been anything but a straight line. But I regret nothing about my zigging and my zagging. In fact, my challenge to you this morning is that you make every effort not to live your life in a straight line. Pursue purpose and meaning, but do not limit yourself by too quickly jumping into some well-worn paths traveled by a lot of people before you. I love to hike in the mountains. And each spring, as the snow begins to melt, the runoff etches trails into the mountain. And then you have wildlife follow the runoff to the water below. And then between the runoff and the wildlife, you have a nice trail formed for hikers. More hiker traffic makes the trail more prominent. And before long, what you have is a very well-established trail. Now, some of these trails become so popular that they get marked by signs that tell the hiker where the trail leads. And I suppose if you've hiked trails like this, as I have, you didn't pick your head up, look around and say, wow, I wonder if anybody else has ever been here before me. Here's the thing. You don't have to go to the mountains to find these well-traveled trails. I run into them every single day in my office. I'm going to give you some examples of these markings to watch out for. Here's one of my favorites. Studies report. I hear this one a lot. Scientific research proves. I like this one. Economists agree. And then my all-time favorite, and we're hearing this one more and more, polls show. Watch out for these trails. These are the trails of intellectual laziness. It's one deer simply following another down a path where snow has randomly melted. Throughout your time at SMU, you've been pushed by your professors to expand your vision to new horizons. Their job has been to expose you to different disciplines, religions, thought leaders, cultures, and political views. They've challenged you to think differently about the world and the issues that we're facing. They've been leading you into unmarked trails, and that's a really, really good thing. But when you leave here, your professors and their painful reading requirements, they will not be going with you. And without serious self-discipline, your muscle memory for discovery is going to atrophy, and it's going to atrophy fast. You're a generation that's come of age in the digital world. Social media is your first language. Smartphones are your window to information, and apps are where you get your entertainment. Mobile technology is now being fused with artificial intelligence, and products are being created to drive hours and hours of engagement. In fact, if one of you can create an app that drives a compulsive desire to relentlessly stare at your smartphone, you have found the path to riches. But I caution you, one person's engagement is another person's mindless addiction. Today's technology is amazing. It can be a tool for discovery, critical thinking, and knowledge, but it can also create well-marked trails to narrow-mindedness and even extremism. Read a news article on Facebook. If you enjoy the article, what do? You like it. If you don't like it, you click on the little angry face emoji. It takes about 5 articles, and you'll find yourself on a well-marked media trail, one that's tailored just for you. And very quickly, oftentimes without even realizing it, you can find yourself reading only those things with which you instinctively agree. And gradually, your world can close in, and anything that might challenge narrowing views is efficiently filtered out by this technology. So I urge you to be diligent with these digital tools. Please make them work for you. Don't allow them to become your surrogate for discovery, but use them to open your mind to new ideas. So to that end, I'm going to close by reading something that was penned by a once strident zealot whose worldview radically changed while he was on one of these well-established trails. And irrespective of your religious, political, or cultural background, I think these words offer a profound challenge to all of us in here today. And here's what he wrote. He wrote, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Think about such things. Consider those words. This is not a challenge to follow your heart. This is a challenge to constantly test your heart. Think about such things. Is my trail leading to truth? Is my trail a noble one? Am I on a path that is excellent or praiseworthy, or am I simply following a well-worn trail caused by randomly melting snow? No matter how sure you are of your direction and decisions, I urge you never stop asking, am I on the right path? But I have to warn you, these unmarked trails, they're exhausting. They are punishing, and they carry much, much higher risk. But I will promise you the challenges and testing of unmarked trails are so much more rewarding, and they are going to touch so many more lives. My wish for all of you is that you take full advantage of the amazing freedom offered to you in this country, the freedom to pursue new and exciting trails, because I know where those trails lead. They lead to a life filled with awe and wonder, a life of beauty and discovery, a life of difficulty, testing, and challenges, but it is a life not lived in a straight line. I wish all of you the best. Congratulations again. Thank you for having me this morning.